What's up, everybody? It's two of the Bandformers, Aki and Andy, and today we're going to be previewing another game from Wildcard Weekend. And today is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So without further ado, let's get going.
Yeah, so first we'll talk about the away team for this matchup, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were very, very average throughout the whole season. They even tied with the Detroit Lions. And even Ben Roethlisberger himself said in a press conference, out of the 14 playoff teams, we're the 14th. And I'm not going to say he's wrong there. But they managed to make the playoffs just barely in honestly the craziest end to a regular season I've ever seen. They needed anything but a tie to get into the playoffs. And the game between the Chargers and the Raiders went to overtime, and it looked like it was going to be a tie, but then they got lucky enough that the Raiders decided to kick a field goal and win the game. So that's their tumultuous journey to the NFL playoffs. But overall, they're just not a particularly good team. The offense is below average. They're bottom 10 in terms of passing yards. And Big Ben is just not the player he used to be. And then, Deontay Johnson has been good. But other than that, Juju and Claypool have been not very good and also injured for a bit. And then Najee has been really good as well, but there's just no other rushing attack to back him up. So even though he had 12,000 rushing or 1,200 rushing yards this season, the rushing offense is still bottom 5 in the league. And then when you look at the defense, it's also just as average. They're bottom 10 in yards and a little better in points. But really, it's just because TJ Watt is really their best player on the team. So he gets pressure, he gets sacks, and that's why the passing defense overall is okay. But the rushing defense is just non-existent. Just they have no real defensive line, and they just get destroyed while other teams rush the ball. So really, they're just not a very good team, and they're lucky to have made it this far.
Now I move to the other side. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They've made back-to-back Super Bowls representing the AFC. But how have they done this year? They were 12-5 and were only the 2 seed. They actually had a really shaky start, and looked for a while that they might not even make the playoffs because they started 3-4 with some terrible losses early in the season. However, they ended the year 9-1, and they almost could have had a 10-game win streak to end the season had it not been for a last-minute loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. But I think otherwise they are a really good team. And Patrick Mahomes is still awesome. Like having 4,800 yards and like around above 35 touchdowns and being called at a down year, that shows you how good of a player Patrick Mahomes is. And the rest of the team is still really good. You have Tyreek Hill, although he has admittedly looked a little bit banged up in the past few weeks, and Travis Kelce, who is obviously pretty much the consensus best tight end in the league over the past several seasons. And you still have other players who stepped up, such as Darrell Williams, Derek Gore, and in the passing offense, you have players such as Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson, who in the past few weeks have had some very clutch plays. So the offense is very good. How about the defense? The defense was the main reason they started so atrociously early on, but they became a very average unit to even good at times in the last several weeks. They finished, I think, at bottom 10 in terms of passing yards and rushing yards. They were, I think, slightly below average, but I think this unit is around an average defensive unit. And I think that that's fine enough considering that they have a really strong offensive attack, and they should be able to outgain and outscore almost anyone they face if they are performing at their peak level and peak efficiency. So I think that they're a really good team overall. It's a great coach, great playoff experience, and they should be looking forward to a possible another Super Bowl run.
And normally at this part of the video, each of us would talk about an important narrative going into this game. But with such a lopsided matchup, there's really only one narrative to consider, only one real possible way that the Chiefs would lose this game, and that is if they somehow just crumble under the pressure, which I highly doubt will happen. But something important is that Big Ben said in a press conference fairly recently that, as I previously mentioned, they're 20-point underdogs and that they really don't stand a chance. Like that's literally exactly what he said. And that's actually quite a smart move by Big Ben, I think. You could argue that it's just him throwing in the towel and acknowledging that this is the end of his career, which has been a very good career. And we're definitely going to miss Big Ben when he's gone. But it's also kind of a strategic move because you're really putting all of the pressure on the Chiefs to win what should be like the easiest playoff game ever, saying that the Steelers don't even really deserve to be in the playoffs. So I mean, I really don't think it will happen. The Chiefs just really haven't been a team that's been shown to crumble under the pressure in the past. They've made the Super Bowl the last 2 years. I don't really think that the Steelers stand a chance here. So, yeah.
So you probably have figured out what our prediction is going to be. Um, I think that especially if the Chiefs like score on their first drive, that the Steelers will definitely be thrown out of whack. If they have like a decent defender put on Deontay Johnson and they get a little bit of pressure on Big Ben, I don't think the Steelers are going to get more than 10 points. And honestly, on the field, Big Ben, great career. This is a way to go out. You made the playoffs in a very strong AFC in your last year. It's great considering the team that was around you. And I think that in the future, the Steelers team definitely has a lot of potential considering Najee and a decent wide receiver core. And definitely they could have an improving O-line and D-line and defense overall. I think the Steelers have a better defense than many people think moving forward. But anyways, for the prediction, we have the Chiefs steamrolling the Steelers 38-10. Yeah, so that's pretty much how we think the game's going to be. It's going to be an absolute rote session, and the Chiefs should be pretty much cakewalking into the second round, and they should be focusing on not getting too many guys injured.
So that wraps it up for our prediction between the Steelers and Chiefs, the game that we think is going to be the most lopsided. Let us know whether you agree or disagree. Although if you do disagree, we're going to think you're an idiot. But this is the Benchwarmers, and we're signing out. See ya.